Alright, so I missed yesterday to play Ace Attorney because I normally do it on Thursdays, but this week, Shang-Chi came out, so I had to go see that on Thursday. So as soon as I got off work, I went straight there. You know, I had some Korean barbecue and then filled up on some new Marvel content that we haven't had in a long time, so I was super excited for that. And it was really good. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly did. Especially the little scene, um, like not the post credit scene, but like the in-between one. It was very intriguing, I'll say. But anyway, so because I had a half day today at work, I'm gonna go ahead and try to catch up on the game I was supposed to play last night, which is Ace Attorney. Because I have to go to dinner later tonight as well, so this seems like a great opportunity to fit it in and get some more things done. So, investigation part 4. Yes, the longest investigation I've ever seen in an Ace Attorney game. So, just to see if I can recall everything correctly. So Susato got a message from Lord Strongheart saying that her dad fell ill and they're sending her home tomorrow, which I still call bullshit on. I think Lord Strongheart is up to something. That dude, I do not trust that dude. That's all I'm going to say is I do not trust that dude. And then Susato also knew the name of the next Herlock Sholmes story that Iris had typed up, even though no one should know that. So, definitely something suspicious there. It was the same manuscript that Herlock Sholmes said she couldn't print quite yet, and then he put into this pawnbroker's store for safekeeping. Now let's see. Gina, I'm assuming, snuck into the pawnbroker trying to get the manuscript back because she didn't trust anyone else. And she wanted to help Iris, but something happened and then she was found with the pawnbroker's body in the room where it was locked. But that was after Herlock and Ryunosuke and Susato went into the pawnbrokery and found two shadowy figures that shot Herlock. It was a whole mess, but I finally got Gina to sign me up as her defense lawyer, which means I can investigate the crime scene now. And Gina had revealed to us that McGill did actually kind of fabricate the omnibus thing because he was guilty, but he was trying to hide something which looked like music box plates, which the really white albino dude like came in here to try to steal from Gina. Anyway, big mess. I think I have the gist of things, so I'm just going to go ahead and proceed from here, assuming that I have most of the stuff down. I know there's like a tidbit of information I'm like missing, but anyway. 16th April, 1:26 p.m., Windibank's Pawnbrokery. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through that door behind the counter. Yeah, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then, let us not waste any time. Yes, ma'am. Now we can finally examine it. Alright, first thing I want to do is look at this. Ah, look here. Oh yes, a bullet hole, and I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. Presumably Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Ah, well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet. Okay, so first off, it says April 16th, so exactly at midnight, Mr. Windibank was still alive, and he changed the sign. But it looks like... Well, if I had the autopsy report, we'd know if the bullet went straight through his body. Because if it did, someone must have shot him from the back. But anyway, what's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha, I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing? Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. There, does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at. In a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Guinea would say it's bleeding great. So, whose blood are we looking at, then? Yeah, ain't that the million-dollar question, huh? Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color, and you'll know who it belongs to. In a flash. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it? 1 flash or 2, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make a note of it in the court record. Alright, sample of blood analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turns different colors. Mine would turn black like my soul. Anyway, hold on. I want to see that. Court record. Alright. Alright, so it's... Name unknown. I have to find a color that matches with it. Got it. let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have reagent left, sure. Alright. Well, I would say we examine that, but it's still blinking. What else do you want to look at? Green blood, it just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. There we go, now it's got the check mark. Okay, cool. Let's talk to you, I guess. This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Silly phone. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we must tell Gregsy at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. It'll be stuck here even longer. Oh, I'll be stuck here. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. No, I already examined it, but thank you, sir. Alright, this thing. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. True. This thing I would like to see as well. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Ah, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I could make money out of these in Japan. It would beat keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. I like that cleaning toilets runs in the right family. What are you doing? The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely? We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. And even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime and a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know, a crime and a pawnbroker's. Glad we got that one off my chest, then. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runo? Oh, it's just... well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole. But when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. You just said who would want it, Runo! Music box. Important because of the music disc. It's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh! Well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? I'd like to listen to the one that said to McGilded. What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Alright, let's go to the other side. And examine this. No, I guess this. There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Windybank's notes, and... what's this? Looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Ooh, show us, Susie. Show us. Oh, this is already in my evidence. Wait, there's blood on it, though. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, one gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April, 10:30. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windybank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand. This one's got a kitty. But this photograph of a cat. It looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out! All right, let the cogs turn. Yes, they are exactly the same. No, they're not. They are slightly off. This is a fucking stereoscope picture. I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. Secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Let me guess. Stereoscope picture, huh? Huh? Hold on, let me finish examining. Examine that guy's ass already. What's this sign? Oh, am I just examining the thing again? That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? It must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. Clearly, Mr. Windybank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Oh, the door. I can examine the door. Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Gregsy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windybank face down on the floor with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry, if there are clues in there, I'll find them. Okay, but before we do that, I guess we'll talk to you about the picture. So Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter, and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry. If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Ah! Well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Dude, it's been like 2 minutes. You know what a stereoscope is. Oh yes, that's what Mr. Shom showed us yesterday. You see, there it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course, that magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of these contraptions. What? Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful! Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Alright, let's look. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just open them, and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye, and what you see with your right eye, are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'll be able to see depth in these prints? Yes, Bruno. You're beginning to understand. And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that? Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? Don't tell me. Don't tell me that when I looked through the little hole in the door, it was actually a stereoscopic print. And the whole thing was fabricated. Because that would be a little fascinating. Anyway, let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? Cross my eyes. I think I can. Watch me and see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? What's my screenshot button? Perfect. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen right now. How they both just get their eyes cut. Anyway. There! How's that? Wonderful! Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try it looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runo. I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose. Did the print split into two images for you? Now, the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center. Oh yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Is there going to be a disclaimer? Like, actually try this. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Okay, I'm going to admit, I just tried to do it. I don't think it really worked, but I don't know, whatever. Hey, that guy, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm getting this out of the way now because obviously I missed yesterday because I went to the movies. And I got off work early today, and I have dinner later, so I figure we can squeeze in some of this now, and it'll be fine. But anyway, how you doing? You doing alright? I went and saw Shang-Chi, so that was cool. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Am I doing it right? I can't tell. I think I did it right. I don't fucking know. I finally beat that stupid bread puzzle. What bread puzzle? I can't recall the bread puzzle. Sorry, it's been a while. Like this, is it? Did they just expect me to do it? There, you managed it, so now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. The one that had me stuck for 3 months on... Oh, okay. Well, congrats on beating the puzzle, my man. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Renaud? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here, then set the pair of photographs in this stand at the back and... It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Now that I beat it, I just feel pissed that it held me for that long, because the puzzle wasn't that hard when I understood it. That's just the nature of puzzles, dude. It's, like, I love Portal so much, and some of those puzzles in those games were super difficult until you beat it, and you're just like, why did that take me so long? That's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, 3 months is quite some time to get stuck, though. I can agree with that. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. If these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures. I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. Considering the text is in red, I'm gonna say yes, you're gonna need it. After I beat it, it just clicked together and I was like, how the fuck did that take me so long? Again, I've definitely been there, dude. Definitely been out there. The second white cat photograph has been entered. So I have 2 of those now. Wait, I need to look at this again. Hold on. Just have to use the bank's redemption ticket. 13th February, 9 p.m. 1 small box, 10 shillings. It's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had to use anything he had to hand. It's hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. So, this was the first one. And it just says one small box, 13th of February. Then when was this one? This was 2 days later, on the 15th of February. Which means he didn't have any paper for 2 days? I find that hard to believe. This is the ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday. Yes, having been entrusted to her by Mr. McGilden 2 months earlier. Article deposited, one gentleman's overcoat. The other redemption ticket was in the pocket of that coat. Oh! Wait, that's weird. So the first redemption ticket for the small box was in the coat that this one was written for. That's odd. This feels like it's going to be significant. Yes, for a small box deposited 2 days before the omnibus incident. Could that have anything to do with all this? Yeah, I'm assuming so. They were written on the same stereoscopic image. Come on, Phoenix. I mean, Renosuke. Anyway, can I go to the storeroom now? Oh, I can, yeah. Alright, let's see the murder scene. So I finally seen your boy Zach. Oh, the one you shared with me. Yeah, I saw him. He looked pretty cool. He was a knight acting as a prosecutor. That's pretty cool. Anyway, 16th April, Winterbank storeroom. Poor Iris. She clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Winterbank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah, Gregsy. Ah! Oh, I guess he's... Wait, Inspector! What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do you? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old? I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Huh? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Oh, good job. I don't think that went very well. Inquisitor Barnum. I'd love seeing Renosuke going on a trial against Barnum, but it wouldn't go much different than Nick versus Barnum. I can't imagine it would. They have very similar personality traits. Anyway, I don't think that... Yeah, I don't think that... Why? Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Great job, Inspector. Even Catriel couldn't be that tone deaf. You know, there's always someone worse than someone that's bad. And it's usually at the very bottom someone who's dead. But anyway, look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. I'm not gonna lie, every time I see Gregson, I can usually go for some fish and chips. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes, I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. I guess we'll get the talking out of the way. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Shaw, you got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night at shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, man, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible. Oh, as you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. Next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. No! Presumably it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to this storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Anyway, I've been thinking more about a possible AVPL2 if Catriel was an actually well-written character. I'm not sure if I wanted to see Apollo or Athena to lead this ship. You mean for the next, like, if there was a 2? I think it'd be cool if they tagged along, but I still think Nick should be kind of the primary focus. Because, I don't know, like, you can do as many of these, like, Great Ace Attorney spin-offs as you want, but everyone's always going to come back to Phoenix. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Rexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? Well, the thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well... Out with it. Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body anesthetized? Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my. No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in his system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyships, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. Alright, let's look around. I don't know Nick more than had his time on the spotlight, especially on the first PO. While the second one would be about Catriel and the Reigns, so why not mirror the AA side and have Apollo or Athena leading? I guess, but would it really be called AA versus PL then, or not AA versus KL? Let's look at his alcohol shelf. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings, look. Pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor, and the policeman shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. Yeah, at least you're trying. Alright, this has got to be where the manuscript was in. Out of all the articles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows us any sign of being ransacked. Ah, what is it, Iris? That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh! Iris's unpublished story, The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. You must check inside the box at once. Yes. Ah. It was there. Iris' story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it there, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really, because that's not a very well hidden frown. And there it is. A long unpublished story that Mr. Sholmes deposited at the pawnbrokery of the victim, Mr. Windibank, is entitled The Hound of the Baskervilles. Oh, title? Okay. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Is that it? It's just... That's a really long one. I mean, for stories that are published in a magazine, I can't imagine they'd be novel-sized, right? Is that... No? Okay. I'm just spinning it around for no reason, I guess. Moving on. I really want to know whose blood this is. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once, through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be his blood, then. Ah! I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. Blue? So, now we know the color of the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windibank's blood. It doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shot. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. Alright, updated portfolio of blood. I want to see that. Alright, so this one is for sure Windibank's, color blue. This one's still unknown and green. Right, let's keep looking around. Why is this not checked off? virus? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. Gun! Let's look at gun! This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon. Used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Bruno look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibanks with this yesterday, didn't we? I shall have to take my own life. I forgot what voice I gave him. I don't know. He's dead. I won't have to worry about it too much. It must be the same gun. Last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun had been fired. So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. You're feeling a bit faint? Why is that? Have you eaten, dude? Do you need to get some sleep? Is there even anything else in here to look at? No, it looks like it. Can I present something to him and he'll talk to me about it? Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles. A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And, I don't suppose... Would there be any mention of my humble self in the tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? Didn't mean it like that. And even if I did, you wouldn't have been bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? This one? Inspector Grayson, could you give me your opinion about this, do you think? Oh, that's the default, like, nope. He's not gonna respond to it, got it. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip the fluff. Skip the fluff. Skip the fluff. What about this? Nope. Skip the fluff, skip the fluff, skip the fluff. Okay. Just one more try. Just one more try. Nope, skip the fluff. Oh no, this isn't fluff. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote that ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this is the ticket for McGilded's overcoat. The one that little diver turned up with yesterday. No, it's not. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to, Bruno's right, Grixie. It isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So what's all this about, then, if I might be so bold as to ask? Okay, you went to take some meds, your head spinning? Dude, like, lay down or something, man. Just eat some food, have some water. I don't know. Just take it easy. a second ticket. A second one? It seems that Mr. McGill in fact had another article in storage here at Windibanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. Alright, let's talk about this. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat. You mean to tell me... Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue. Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here, then. That's right. It's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time. Oh? There are dozens of little boxes out there. Hundreds, even. We can't possibly know which one might have been Mr. McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger. Ugh. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship. Of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. Just getting old. Alright, let's go back to the main room. Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got little price labels on them, but there are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere. The box that McGilded deposited here just over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes, it could be any one of them. Mr. Sholmes said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vaults. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilded's contains something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Was that necessary, Susato? That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen. Ah, this takes me back. It's been some time since Susato-san last threw me. Well, then what do you recommend we do? One small box. Am I actually supposed to look for it? Because that would be interesting yet frustrating. Because I definitely do not see any small boxes that look investigatable. Can I talk to her? Nope. What if I show her the thing? Would you mind if I showed you this? Oh, no. Filler. Filler, filler, filler. Yep. Filler, because I got it wrong. Anyway. Let's show her this. Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited it at Windy Banks, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. Drink water? Ugh, but I already did, man. Ah, dare. I had some more. Although, unfortunately, it's warm. I need to go cool it down. But I'll do that later. I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yeah, maybe. Wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Can I go to the Sholmes' suite? No, not Sholmes' suite. St. Sinners Hospital. Can I go there? I'm at the point where if you let your house, you might miss what people say. Oh, do I need to talk to more people here? Is that what's going on? Do I need to talk to the... No. Checked. He's checked. What about you? Are you still checked? Yeah, you're still checked. Everything's checked. Checked, checked, checked. That's checked, that's checked, that's checked. He's checked, that's checked, everything's checked. We're all checked, we're good. Let's go back to the storeroom. Maybe what I'm missing is in here. Sure I examined everything in here. Blue blood, the gun, the random articles, the chest with the manuscript. Yeah. This room feels done. I would like to find that little box, though. Ah, whatever. Let's go visit fucking the hospital. Nope, nothing yet. Okay. Maybe the street. I don't know. No, it's definitely got to be the main shop somewhere. I'm not presenting the right thing to her, I think. What about the second picture? Oh, no. Filler. How about this? The way you can identify differences in people's blood like this is amazing. You really are a genius, Iris. I know. I am. If Hurley and I put our minds to it, we could really shake up Britain's chemists and alchemists. And you could shake up Japan's lawyers and judges, couldn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, for sure. Even if I didn't intend to. Which is totally fair. Wait, we need to find out whose blood this is, don't we? Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean? Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case... Yes, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. There we go. This was the one for the overcoat itself, which Ginny had. Okay. Now we present it. Oh, that looks like blood. I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Purple! Look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? How many people fucking bled on this shop? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood... Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? Hold on. Windy Banks was blue. Oh. Random Stranger was green. You can't mix those and get purple, but the only other person who could be bleeding that night is probably Sherlock. I think I do. Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color return, but with a little deduction. That's right, I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Okay, I gotta think about this now. Now that I have these choices. I wish I knew what's Iris's is slapping in blood. Oh, you mean what she's firing at it? That would be interesting to know the actual chemical reagent that she's using. But I don't think this game's that advanced when it comes to the forensic side of things. But it's still entertaining nonetheless. This was the one from the overcoat. Which means this is the blood from Thrice Fired Mason. Because as soon as he realized Ginny was inside the carriage, the omnibus, he had her turn the coat in. And she had his blood on his hands. So it had to be Thrice Fired Mason, right? Thrice Fired Mason? You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Oh, was I wrong? Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case? Oh, hey, Pickle. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for the resubscribe. 4 months, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot. You having a good day, man? I hope so. It's the start of a 3-day weekend for me. I got off work early today, so I decided to fit this in because I missed it last night, and here we are. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, my man. Anyway, the victim of the omnibus case? God, I wish I could talk today. Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windy Banks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Ah, there you go. Now we're putting 2 and 2 together, and it's equaling 4 instead of fish. What's up, Hella Gary? Yeah, same. 3-day weekend. Doing good. How about me? Again, I'm doing great. Fitting this in now, because I missed yesterday. And also because I have dinner later, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream later. So, you know, get off work early. May as well get some content in, you know? That, and I've kind of been wanting to finish this. This is the last case of the first game, so super curious where the hell they're going to go with it. Because right now, this case is all over the place. That kind of rhymes. Kind of proud of that. But anyway. Do you have any plans for the 3-day weekend, dude? I have a fantasy football draft tomorrow. It starts at 9 a.m., so it's gonna be nuts. And then just, I don't know, maybe take it easy Sunday and Monday. Hopefully. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves. Yep. Yes, he was. That weird Irishman. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well, let's make a note of this. Purple blood, Mason. Got it. So it updated the ticket and the blood sample portfolio. That's good. Oh my god, dong, 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 dongs everywhere, Jesus. I didn't think I'd have to say that since that weird bachelorette party I was dragged to. No, I'm kidding. That was, that was just a joke. Gonna sit back and chill, gotta work a small shift in the morning, but we'll be off Saturday afternoon to Tuesday. Gonna clean a bit since the heat pump guys come to check out the house. Alright. Fair enough, sounds like a productive weekend at least, but hopefully you'll be able to take some time to yourself as well. Maybe stream some more of your own stuff, which would be, you know, entertaining to watch while I recover from Saturday shenanigans. So I'm not going to imitate them. I nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set out to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Bruno? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Yay, some direction with my life. Let's go to the prison. There it is. '16th April, 5:41 p.m. Local prison, cell 13. Ah, Gina, good, you're back. Ah. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? Eh? Oh. Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windibanks. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. That I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. Eh? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you, or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right. I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. What we've uncovered. Oh, alright then. Blimey, give it a rest with them eyes, Virus. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. Mr. Naruhodo, and all of us, know that you are innocent of this crime. Yeah, I mean, first off, how could she... Why would she be unconscious after she murdered a guy, straight through the heart, who died instantly, and then she was found passed out next to him? Like, what, she just had, like, low blood sugar and decided to take a nap? What? That's the weirdest situation. Anyway. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windibanks that night. Looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason. Thrust it in Gina's face. Or I can present it to her calmly, I suppose. Alright, let's thrust it in her face first. We found this in Mr. Windibank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah. Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? Huh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? It was kind of obvious. I mean, don't act so shocked, lady. Why don't you tell us what happened, please? There we go. Iris's manuscript. Alright, yeah. This Baskervilles story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No. Jenny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript, or whatever you call it, really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you'd said right the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that. Believe me, bare-faced liars. The lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see it if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. A reason for breaking in. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest? If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windibank's? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective? So much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner. Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I ate all this chummy nonsense, do you hear? I ate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. Just leave me alone. Go on, Scarper. What's on her cuffs? Is that blood? I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat. Are some very suspicious red stains. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Nah, I'll save representation in court for later. Should I do the portfolio or this pawnbroker's ticket? The ticket, why not? Do you see this pawnbroker's ticket, Gina? It's the one you took to Windibanks, isn't it? The one for that black overcoat that you're wearing now. Hey? What, that? I don't know. They all look the same to me, those tickets. Surely not. Well, this one has a very obvious mark on it that would appear to be blood. Huh? Does that ring any bells? I don't know, it all looks the same to me, blood. They all sound the same to me, these answers. Suspicious. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood you are. What? But blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, then. So could it be blood that spattered from Mr. Windibank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Ah, take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. Whoa. I can't tell, is that blue or purple? Oh my. What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. Ah, that makes sense. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color. Ah, it is purple, so that's Mason's. Which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Ah, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling off a story. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from Mr. McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Well, yeah, we kind of knew that. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Oh, now we're going philosophical. Purple? Yeah, I'm glad they clarified that to me, at least. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what's the truth and what is a lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Wavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwavering. What's funny, Gina? Of course, sounds like in this Empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on, look at the mess it got you into, believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now. Mr. I'm a Believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? A lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. I think she tried to help Iris, so I'm gonna trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Narrow Odo? Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off me tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. More water. You're gonna send me to the bathroom soon. Still warm. Eh? It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience, but I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What? What do you expect me to say to that? Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern lot are... I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. It turned out alright in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato? Somebody's there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? Gregson. I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts. Like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. Oh, mystic Japanese arts. That's fucking great. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregson! Oh dear me, I am most terribly sorry, Your Ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, Your Ladyship, I only just arrived, this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is, nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then I'll humbly excuse myself now, Your Ladyship. Ta-da, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye. Bye-bye and bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will... well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing, forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait, if you please, my pleasure. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gregsy's so funny, he says such silly things. Certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend to the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. 16th April, 11:13 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Naruhodo-san, it's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today has been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested, all on the back of the news that her father has fallen ill and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm. And yet, I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task. Are you going to tell me how you knew the title of that damn book? We'll talk about everything, I guess. I missed the other one, so whatever. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san. I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. We've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Do you know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible. Even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents? It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. It seems to me that this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. Everything else she's had to think about. Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. And I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I will do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say, I've been a complete failure. Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. Alright, an entire notebook of that thing. That case. I want to read it. I want to read it. Notes collated by Mr. Sato about the McGill case. Alright. Case summary. Victim found deceased on the last scheduled omnibus of the day after a stab wound to the abdomen. Details of victim named Mason Milverton. Mason Milverton. MM. Why is that Magnus McGilded? He was also MM. Alright. Interesting. Occupation brickmaker. Wow. Who named their kid Mason and then he became a brickmaker? What are the odds? Domicile East End of London. Trial summary. Defendant Magnus McGilded. Prosecution attorney Lord Barrick Van Zeeks. Defense attorney Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Conviction was assured with 3 eyewitnesses' testimonies. However, a surprise 4th witness's testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Okay. Very short, sweet, and to the point, I guess. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait. There's something I need to say. Hiya! What? What was that? A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. really felt similar to her other technique where she just throws me. But, maybe I missed something. Susato-san. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes. And as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. Dot, 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 dot. 17th April, the small hours. St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Oh, okay. I figured it was him, but... do I still have that? I guess I got it right. Rest assured, I shall put everything in a place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell and Godspeed. My dear madam. To be continued. Oh, man. So she went to say goodbye to Sholmes, too. That's kind of fun. Oh, gosh. Gotta stretch once in a while. Oof, feels good. Alright, what time is it? 2:46? Alright, I can probably go for one more chapter, maybe, if I'm lucky. When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. 17th April, 9:32 a.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. Susato, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again. One day. Even so. But you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Oh, it's the kid. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Wagahai. Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Hey, kitty. Ah, Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Bruno? Ginny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. That's one way of looking at it, actually. That's fair. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon, so even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad. And look, this trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick purse plunder. See? How do you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Runo will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense. Well, and then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo? Oh, yeah, let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Today's paper has been added. Why? I need to look at it now. Alright, why was this paper added to my record? I'm sorry, is there any way to turn that one? Ministry, what? Why does this look important? Some secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice? What? There's a sensational story lower down the front page as well, look! Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old. Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted, but how would somebody be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Is it... It's the music boxes, isn't it? I mean, I'm assuming, but... Like those discs that McGilded had? Someone was trying to get a hand on? I don't know. Anyway. Are you looking for a new career, Runo? No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be, and it could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment. This morning's paper, which contains an article about government. See, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we examine everything as soon as we friggin' get it. Because on this page, it's... Yeah, pawnbroker, got it, whatever. With a picture of Mooneybanks. I guess we can look at it. Pawnbroker perishes in pick purse plunder. How awful. For Ginny, I mean. But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Divers Dauntless Do-Gooder, right? Yeah, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger. Bigger? How? Proud pickpocket protects planet post-trial, perhaps. Protects planet? Ooh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great. Alright, I'm just glad I looked at that. Because that's going to be important. Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest. But, thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering is all, about Sholmes. Did they fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success, but Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom. It's time, then. Yes, let's go, Gina. Iris. Lead the way, Bruno. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from the start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. '17th April, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Well, well, well. Look who's shown up for the first time in 2 months. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Wait, back in this time, wasn't it a king? I don't know. Again, not an expert in history. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zieks. My lord? Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Huh? Really? Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out, thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have offended him. And secondly, even more loathsome. Those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies, only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. Wait, what? Did he really just say that? He means you now, Bruno. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zieks' eyes. Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about at all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zieks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. I swear to God, I'm going to hit the space bar, and I'm going to be just astounded by some of these, I feel like. Well, I recognize 2 of them. Actually, I take it back. I recognize 1 on the far left. The second one is the maid from the first trial. I don't recognize 3. Number 4 looks like the old dude from the last trial, you know, juror number 6, except now he's a doctor for some reason. And that's the bitch that was on her typewriter in the first one, but now she's on a telegram machine. And the guy, wait a minute. The guy on the right, that's the Russian dude. In the thing on the boat, when we had that guest next door, and Sholmes thought it was him, but that was the guy from the paper. I'm sorry, Zeeks. You think anyone's a spy here? It's probably that dude on the right. Anyway. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Wow, that guy's... He's doing the stereoscope, but without the stereoscope part. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything, and I'm ready for it. I don't understand it. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible. But could I have? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. The mouse is reading. I love that mouse. That mouse is cute. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Is something wrong, Rena? Oh, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? Yeah, no, something tells me something's going down in this trial. But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know. So I've been led to believe. Something tells me I'm being duped. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zeeks. The court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. The victim, Mr. Pop Windibank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. Gotcha. Gotcha. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Windibank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the East End. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious. After their testimony, the girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pickpurse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zeeks. At once, my lord. Alright, crime scene plan. Got it. Windibank's revolver. Got it. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runo. I think that's because it has. Alright, let's look at the new evidence we got, because we got a bunch. Alright, the autopsy reports. Details of Windibank, pawnbroker, time of death, 1 to 1:30. Coroner, Dr. Stevens. That's not usually on there, but I'm going to go ahead and make a mental note of that, because it might be important later. Time of death, whatever. Reporting party, me. Postmortem findings, single bullet wound in upper half of victim's back, no other visible signs of trauma. Autopsy findings, instant death from a posterior anterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. So yeah, definitely shot from below, that's true. Or shot from above while he was lying down. Just throwing out stuff. Alright, the crime scene photograph. So yeah, if he was already like knocked out on the floor and unconscious and someone just stood over him and shot him from where his feet are, that would also cause a slightly rising diagonal trajectory. But other than that, I don't see any other... Nothing actually looks suspicious in this picture. Except for the blood. Because... Wait. Did the bullet go through him or not? Because if it didn't go through him, would there really be all this blood under him without any blood around the hole? Like... Wait, even if the bullet didn't go through him, there could be blood on the floor, but it'd have to come out of the wound. Why is there no blood on his shirt? The bullet had to go through? All it said is it hit his heart. It never said it went through, but I guess we can assume it did. Until stated otherwise, I guess. Windibank's plan. Signed by Zeeks, I don't know. Wait, why is this empty? Wasn't there a music box here? And a grandfather clock? Dead body, Gina's body. Got it. Let's see. This is Mr. Windibank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. Mr. Windibank always used to keep this gun to hand on his shop counter. Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand. That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe. But his one bullet was fired that night, and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? Wouldn't there be a casing in there if it was shot? Or fired? Alright, let's get fingerprints. Oh, it's too early in the world for that. By logic, it had to go through? By what logic? Because in the first case, Dr. John Wilson was shot, but it didn't go through, which was kind of one of the keys to figuring out who did it. I think that's because it has. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windibank on April 16th of this year. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Wait, 3. What are you looking at me like that for? Don't let me in with you lot. Core blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our older brother. It's our older bruv. Lost contact with him we have, so we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And then last night we come across you, the very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is, the very spit of him. So we decided there and then what we's gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two. Sulky Skulkin? And that's before he's run out of chips? The blood spilled on the ground. On this position, the gravity would pull the blood to the floor. If it went through, yes, but who's to say that he wasn't the first person shot in the storeroom? You know how these Phoenix Wright games go. There could be any number of possibilities at this point. I'm just making a mental note. I wouldn't be surprised if their big brother was shot first, and then they did something with it. I don't know. Ow. Ow. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh. Whew. Anyway. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they, these 3? No, my lord. Begging your pardon, but please don't let me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence. Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Order, order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I'm about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question, and what exactly you saw. Happy to. Because a skulkin's never skulkin'. Get out of it. Witness testimony. Illegal entry. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gaff's door was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, core blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet. So they didn't even see it. Okay, cool. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. Except for, you know, peeking through the door to see what was going on. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside. And within, only the victim and the accused were found. Yeah, later, by me. I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel? Yes. What's the matter, Runo? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Alright. You know how we do it. Press everything.
Hold it!
The front door of Windibanks was ajar, you say. What time of night was this? Must have been about 1. Right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky? How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky? Me old mucker? Leave me alone. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim.
Objection!
That is pure conjecture. Perhaps. But it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside. Right, that's what happened. Boy, he was eager to jump on that. I think I might have been playing too much as a prosecutor. When were you doing that? Like a second ago with the blood thing?
Hold it!
What are you trying to suggest? That you had to go in? Well, God moves in mysterious ways, they say, don't they, Ringo? They do, Nash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon. God's will often present itself as the whim of thieves, does it? It weren't no whim. I'm dead sure of that. It weren't, Nash, it weren't. Like we said at the time. You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that. Nah, there's no two ways about it. It was a sign that our long-lost brother was inside. Long lost. They're not very good liars, are they? Well, you can't deny it. They led us to a bloke what looks just like our bruv. I said, cut it out. Those chips are getting a chomping today. Yeah, if I was playing prosecutor in this trial, the defense asked about the blood. This would be my shot.
Hold it!
Totally fair. You gotta shoot your shot. A gunshot, you say? Just the one? Are you sure about that? Yep, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? The firearm used belonged to the victim himself. Yes, Mr. Windibank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds. That makes sense. Mr. Windibanks always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well. So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. Wonderful. Went to see what was what, but the door was locked. Yep. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there was only a little oil lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden behind a curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I would think. Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former. Alright, somehow I just proved that I was a coward that night. Thank you, counsels. So I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses. I don't think that's a good case, Van, especially in the 1800s. Wait, which case? Sorry, I'm getting your comments, like, possibly, like, lines later, so I'm not exactly sure what you're referencing, but... Oh, yeah. His bullshit about courage and bullets. Absolutely.
Hold it!
You never done nothing, we never took nothing. You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me lucky Lucy lockets. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quietly, you say? That's right, Governor. Nothing we ate more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers, we are, not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So you'd clearly like us to believe. Eh? Come again? As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive, they fired a gun, you say? Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway. It was. Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun. At London's greatest detective, Herlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed, remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. The skulking brother's gun. I want to examine it. Let me examine it. That's a great bullshittery, not gonna lie. Envious prosecution skills of bullshitting, but still, not a good shot. Totally fair. I mean, the way he presents it is great, but the content itself, not much. Let me look at that gun. Okay. So, there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders. Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it. Exactly. The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it? Yes, it happened almost as soon as we'd walked in through Windowbank's door. I'll make those brothers pay. Okay. So, I wonder if that's all we're going to learn from this gun. Is that it had been fired once. So right now we have 2 bullets in play. One from Windibank's gun, which only had the 1 shot, and one from this gun, which still has 5 shots. Keeping that in mind. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are the telltale signs of spent powder on this gun and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection!
Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there.
Objection!
Oh, don't. However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these 2 fired that gun before they left Windibank's that night. The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night? Can I just, like, point to friggin' Sherlock Holmes? Like, that dude... Oh my god. Is it the blood thing? Because it has the picture of the calendar? I think it's got to be the blood thing, right? Because the first one that comes up... No, not the first one. I take it back. This one. The first one here. It's got the bullet in the wall in the calendar. Yeah, it's got to be this. Right? It's got to be this. I don't know. I'm going to save it real quick. Always got to save. Always got to save. Our revolver looks like a 1873 America J. Stevens single-action revolver. Only 30? Hey, if that's what that is, the Capcom gets points for, you know, accuracy to history. And they would be lucky, yes.
Take that!
The music didn't stop. It didn't need to stop. The evidence is in this portfolio. What on earth have you there, counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of blood stains. Not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Well, anyway, we analyzed all of the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein? Yes, my lord. No more dallying, then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? This one does.
Take that!
What is that? Explain. It's a photographic print taken at Windibank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged in there. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windibank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. That's right, and while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Nah. The one on the left almost looks like Waluigi. Order. How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zeeks? Is he gonna waste more wine? If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? There it is. But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zeeks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. The company that made the revolver went bankrupt shortly after. Really? Oh, the J.E. Stevens one? That would make a little sense. I don't think I've heard of J.E. Stevens before. It would seem now that I owe my learned Neepanese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zeeks? As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windybank at all. So that's it. That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? We're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? I'm gonna say eccentric. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh! That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, it would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in a quite desultory fashion. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer to the court... I can't talk at all. Yeah, because the company only lasted 2 months? Really? I wonder why. I mean, it doesn't sound like they had a very good business plan if they could only last 2 months. Anyway, if I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera. That's a bit of Friar Tuck, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a skulking. Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin? Hey, it's been just after 1, right, bruv? Must have been, Nash. Must have been. Yeah, just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment... What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good lord. It's the defendant. Miss Gina Lestrade. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel. The photograph of Gina has been added. Ugh. I don't believe it. Jenny. In short, the accused is the only person who could possibly have killed Mr. Windybank. I say, my lord. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maywand, 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see, the battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading this small squadron, 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garradeb Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report for the court, men, on the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
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 Nice. Now we already have to change their minds. Got it. I'm not an economic historian. My best guess is that they failed to stand toe-to-toe with Colt and or Winchester. You know what? That's totally fair. I mean, back in that day, it could have been a giant kind of marketplace that was already oversaturated by the big names, and making a small name kind of sneak their way in there probably wasn't the best idea. Or extremely difficult. But anyway. It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Guinea didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Very well. The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Abso-bally-lutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. The jurors... Boy, that red is difficult to read on the brown. The juror's contentions. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketian. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I have left it in there, I should think there will be repercussions by now. Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission, a verdict to follow. Stop. In Motherland, we say never judged by clothes, judge by head. I am Conwyn's brothers are innocent. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Take it from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Winterbank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. The defense's rebuttal. Alright, let's press it all.
Hold it!
You're Mr. Natsume's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn-up for the books. Oops, no, I meant to just continue. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garrett house was the talk of the town after that business. Lodgers moved out, and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did do rather a lot, but not for us, that's for dash certain. I suppose not. Of course, there can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. Obviously, but honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. Oh, is he staring at the maid? That's funny.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpursers, and crossmen, the scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps. Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes? That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rance magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Sholmes? A maid? It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Okay, so press this again.
Hold it!
Is it different? I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Sholmes was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windyben. I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir. Sorry? Whether it was the thieves or the pick-purse, it was still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion. Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't going to be easy. Bruno, it was one of those two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it? Yes, without question. Well then, I'll never forgive them. Oh, Iris. Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think? Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. Alright, cool. Yeah, this juror is going to be important because of the stereoscope crap. His eyes are all crossed.
Hold it!
What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection!
But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Ooh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only it could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. Oh yeah, I forgot to check that picture, didn't I? I'm trying to see if anything's off. The lamp doesn't seem to be lit, but I don't know if that's important. There's also that picture with the white cat there. I'm not sure if that's important either. I don't think there's anything I can really see right now. Like, this cat picture seems important. This being unlit seems important. Could be lit though, I don't know, maybe I just can't see. The finger's definitely on the trigger. I don't know about that. Okay, let's just keep pushing. What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that. Ah, so sorry. As you could probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains are in the field. So what is it that you think you've left behind? Ah, well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? City, surely not. Exactly, surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern, and seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you could be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure. More water? Oh my god. Alright. I guess I can drink some more. Oh, if I do that again, I'm gonna have to go refill this.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electric signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed? It makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. The cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to four corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Someone's mad.
Excuse me.
Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on. I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely. I mean, really, a machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. Juror 5 is likely a student of Allura. Who's Allura? I don't know who Allura is. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Bruno? Any prints that we could look at with a stereoscope? Yeah, I got one. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. Present.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Oh. Do I have another print of that? No. I don't have any 2 prints except for the cat one. Can I just do it again? Can't I get one of the, like, old ones? Damn it. One of the ones from, like, 12:30 or 1:30 or something? Oh, God! Ugh, sorry, excuse me. Allura is a technological school that's been a thing since the late 1700s. A technological prep school. That's pretty cool. I never heard of it. But if it's been around for that long, it must be pretty successful in what they do. That's for sure. I don't have another print. How do I go back?
that!
Wait, sorry? What do you mean, one more print? Oh dear, oh dear. Don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how a stereoscope works? Bruno? What? You need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember? You know, one for the left eye and one for the right. Oh yes, I remember now. But the print we have from the pawnbrokery is just a normal photograph. No. I think you'll find that the clue is in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints. Thanks for the friendly explanation. Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, we can always show it to this young man then. I think you'll find that know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me. Let's get things back on track, shall we, Counsel? All we need is another shot from a slightly different location. Wouldn't the other shot just show us all the clues that you are claiming? I don't know. Alright, let's go back.
Hold it!
Let's talk to this guy. Please tell me you're not Violin Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary. Revolutionary? I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor? As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. It looks like Wish is criminal. Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Yeah, I don't think she's buying that. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like Wish is criminal all the time. It is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Maybe they went inside pawnbroker shop. But they have done nothing wrong. That is all what I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well first of all, that's one not-so-little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Bruno? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? They're still going strong? Oh, I think I read that. Yeah, good for them. Good for them. The only technology-based college I'm aware of is MIT, but that's just because it's in the US, I think. We should speak in that accent more often. You know what, Winter? No, I'm not gonna do it. In fact, I'm not gonna do it at all in the future, just because you said that. So no. In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. We can be accent twinsies? I think you are still going to be the star of that show when it comes to accents. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, so we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against one another. I must be ready to go with whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, no, I think I'm gonna pit her against him.
Objection!
There we go. We're making people fight, Winter. It's great. Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. Good lord. Counsel, explain yourself. Oh my statement? Contradictory? Contradict. C-O-N. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen, abdomen, A, B, D... Sir? Sorry, my English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Forgive me, I did not hear. Ugh. Ah, here is word. Abdomen, part of person's body containing stomach and or vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you're telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before, we never done nothing, but truth is they shot detective. Da. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Knowing from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault though, sir. I must see with my own eyes. I must investigate the crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be Yes, it is, Runo, easily. Sorry? With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor! Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then. As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken. It does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot a man, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right, I did not understand the situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. You know, for a Russian revolutionary, he knows how this judicial system works pretty well. Yay, well done, Runo. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we just might turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Nice. Now we can use that guy to look. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. In the lake of lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore, I say not guilty verdict. Alright, let's talk to this guy. Do I press him and then he'll...
Hold it!
Can it really show up new clues, though? Don't know unless you try. Alright.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. This one.
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windibanks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important. So what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same, then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally, anyway. Oh! Of course, now I see. I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have. Oh my god, she's crossing her eyes again. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on. Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them? No. I cannot. Except for the missing people, but I don't think that's what we need to be looking at. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions. Alright, I'll give it a go. So, to start with, you have to cross your eyes, and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Is this where I'm supposed to be trying? You cross your eyes, and then you make... Nope, I can't do it. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Oh god, it's hurting my eyes. I can't do it. Just tell me what it is, damn it. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runo? No, I didn't, because I can't do it. It hurts my eyeballs. I mean, there's a broken lamp, but that's it. Is that what I'm looking at? No, just tell me what it is, damn it. I'm just not very good at this, that's the trouble. Oh, don't worry, I have just the thing. I happen to bring it with me, a portable stereoscope. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but if you've had that contraption with you from the outset, you could have saved me staring at Mr. Windibank and Gina like I hate them all the time. And if you remember, I said in reply that it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. No, it's not. Just give me the damn thing. Anyway, why don't we try using this helpful little aid now? Here goes. Okay. Now, let's see what we've got. Wait, look at that! What's going on with these 2 pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Yes. That's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this? Black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seemed the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures... Oh, I see it now. Like the doll on the left looks like she's about to fall off, but on the right she looks... Okay. This shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. No, I'm not. What? Me? I haven't the first idea. You know, Runo, it's quite simple. It is? Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some of the items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means... That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers! That's not one I've heard before. Holy crap. Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is now clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. Oh, God. Oh, God. I don't know this. I don't know this at all. Okay, between the two pictures, there was... these two, in the first one, which I can't imagine they shifted the stuff. But then the thieves came in. I forgot about him. The thieves came in. They must have been searching through it. God, they look so freaking dumb. Like dumb. That one almost looks like a dog. I don't freaking know. I'm gonna be honest. Imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. I'm tempted to say Windabank, but because I don't know why she would even sift through those. She was looking for the manuscript, and I don't even know if he was there yet. And then there's just these two, which they claim they didn't touch anything, but they could be lying, but I don't know. I think it's Windabank, maybe. I have no clue, honestly.
Take that!
Oh, nope. That's filler. When he doesn't actually mention the name, you know that's filler. If I do digress there, blah blah blah. It should now be clear, even to you, who is responsible for the impeachable shift in the direction of this trial toward the absurd. Let me guess, me? Shift aside, my Nipponese friend, and let the real lawyers do the talking. Really felt that. You think about it, it has to have been someone who was in Windabanks when everything was going on, doesn't it? Well, yes, that's true. So, that narrows it down quite a lot, I think. I'll have another think. So then, was it the frickin' brothers? Yep. I don't know. I don't friggin' know. The brothers don't seem like the right answer either, but why would Gina have moved it? Then again, why would anyone have moved it, honestly? I don't friggin' know. Throw it
Take
out.
that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. I guess it was just... It was a little confusing because they said, I know who did it, but not the multiple people who did it. Wait, this does not agree with what brother said in testimony before. Oh. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse after all. Perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Ms. Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused is a pick person, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pick person. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. He used his forehead because he's a surgeon and his hands are sterile. It's funny. Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop. Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion, with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue. Welcome back, dude. I hope you had a good shower. Yay, well done. Oh, by the way. What? You should hold on to this, Runo. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. I have the fold-up stereoscope. Lord Van Zieks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. I want myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night, at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. It's pronounced Gina. Fucking melting here? I'm sorry, dude. That sounds miserable. How hot is it over there? I thought it was wintertime where you were. Oh, good. right. I'm running out of time, so I'm actually going to call it here, unfortunately. Because I have to start getting ready to... I'm going to have to Google the difference there, but I'm sorry it's so hot if you're melting. But yeah. I gotta leave soon, but I was able to get at least a couple more, little segments, episodes done. I'm gonna again pick this up at the very least Thursday next week. And then I don't know. I might do something Sunday. On Monday, I might try to do more Psychonauts. So we'll figure it out as we go. But anyway, just want to throw a quick thank you to anyone that dropped by to chat or just lurk or hang out or resubscribe. Pickle, thank you so much for that. That guy, Winter, thank you for just joining and chatting for just even a little bit. Much appreciated. So, I hope you all take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you all another time. So, take care. Oh, wait, should I raid? I don't know. Is there anyone to raid? I think I have like a couple people. Oh, I don't know. I guess I'll throw it at Morrow. She's playing Resident Evil 2, and I always love Resident Evil 2, so I might watch that for a little bit while I get ready. Slash raid Morrow, right? Yeah. Morrow. I think that's it. I completely forget. Yeah, that's it. So yeah. Anyway, thank you again to anyone still here. And I will talk to you all hopefully at least Monday when I play Psychonauts. So you all take care of yourselves, and I will see you all around. So later.